The largest wealth transfer in human history is happening right now, and you're probably not even aware of it. Imagine this. While you're scrolling through your phone, deciding whether to watch this video or move on to the next, $45 trillion is shifting hands. But here's the twist. 99% of the world has no idea where that wealth is going. It's a game-changing shift that's set to make some incredibly wealthy and leave most of us in the dust. What does this mean for you? How can you avoid watching your inheritance evaporate through inflation and systematic destruction? Stick around, because in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you exactly how the next 24 months will decide whether you capture this wealth or lose it forever. So what exactly is going on? The $45 trillion wealth transfer isn't just a number. It's a tectonic shift, and it's happening faster than you think. Over the next decade, trillions of dollars will pass from the baby boomers to younger generations, Gen X and Millennials. But here's the thing. Most of that wealth is being transferred in a way you wouldn't expect, and it's front-loaded. In the next 10 years, $45 trillion will move. $4.5 trillion per year, $375 billion per month. That's $12.3 billion every day. And here's the kicker. If it's left in traditional financial assets, like dollars and bonds, it will vanish before your eyes. The dollar isn't stable. It's dying. What's happening right now is an inflation bomb waiting to go off. So the question is, will you stand by and watch this wealth erode, or will you move it into something that holds value when the dollar crashes? The truth is, most people have no clue about where the money's going, but the numbers are right in front of us, and they're staggering. According to Cerui Associates, $124 trillion will shift from the baby boomers to younger generations by 2048. That's more than 5 times the current GDP of the United States. Let that sink in. But here's where it gets urgent. This massive transfer isn't happening gradually. It's front-loaded. In just the next decade, $45 trillion will be moved. $4.5 trillion per year, $375 billion per month. That's $12.3 billion every day. And here's the kicker. If it's left in traditional financial assets like dollars and bonds, it will vanish before your eyes. The dollar isn't stable. It's dying. What's happening right now is an inflation bomb waiting to go off. So the question is, will you stand by and watch this wealth erode, or will you move it into something that holds value when the dollar crashes? Now, here's where it starts to escalate quickly. The national debt just crossed $38 trillion. And it's growing faster than you can imagine. The government is already spending more on interest payments than on national defense. And guess what? The U.S. is borrowing money just to pay the interest on the money it borrowed last year. This is the definition of a debt spiral, and there are only 2 ways out of it: default or inflate. You know what that means, right? They'll choose inflation every single time. And when they print more money, they devalue the dollar. So if you inherit $45 trillion worth of paper assets, dollars, bonds, stocks, your wealth will slowly fade away. It's happening right now. The Federal Reserve just injected $51 billion into the banking system to prevent a collapse. They printed it in just 72 hours. And every time they do this, the value of every dollar in existence gets smaller. Think about that. This isn't some future prediction. It's already happening. And it's only going to accelerate from here. But here's where it gets even more intense. While the dollar is crumbling, there's one asset that's been gaining, and it's not what most people think. It's not real estate, it's not stocks, it's gold. Gold hit an all-time high of $4,747 per ounce just a few days ago. And while that's impressive, it's not the story here. The real story is silver. Silver, the most undervalued hard asset on the planet, has skyrocketed 150% in 2025 alone. It went from $30 an ounce to 91.78, and it's still climbing. But here's the real kicker. Silver isn't in a bubble. This is what we call a repricing event, a market recognizing that paper assets are worthless. So why should you care? Because this is just the beginning. If silver catches up to gold, we're talking about massive upside potential. Imagine a world where silver hits $200 per ounce just to match gold's current price. It's not speculation. It's a mathematical inevitability, and it's happening right in front of us. The pressure is building, and it's happening faster than anyone realizes. In just the last month, silver has gone from $30 an ounce to nearly $90. That's a 200% increase. And here's the thing, this isn't a short-term blip. It's part of a much larger pattern. On January 13th, 2026, the U.S. Mint did something it's never done before. It suspended all silver product sales. This is unprecedented. Why? Because they couldn't get enough silver. And it's not just the mint. Banks like JP Morgan are standing for delivery of silver at record levels, taking delivery of millions of ounces. This isn't business as usual. It's panic buying. It's institutional players who know something's coming, and they're securing silver before it's gone. And then there's the supply issue. Annual global production of silver is only 800 million ounces, but industrial demand is already taking up 520 million ounces. That leaves only 280 million ounces for investment. But here's the problem. Investment demand is already outpacing supply. What happens if this continues? If demand keeps growing, we could see silver run completely dry. And that's when things really get crazy. Now let's shift gears for a moment and talk about you, the person who's watching this. The $45 trillion wealth transfer isn't just some abstract number. It's affecting real people, millennials, Gen Xers, anyone inheriting wealth right now. Picture this. A person just like you inherits a chunk of that $45 trillion. They have a choice. They could leave it in a savings account, let it collect 5% interest while inflation runs at 8–12%, essentially losing money every month. Or they could put it into stocks, where valuations are at record highs and bubbles are forming. Or they could trust bonds, yielding a measly 4%, guaranteed to lose against inflation. But what if they chose something different, something that can't be printed? What if they choose silver? What if they choose gold? What if they choose hard assets? Because when you look at the numbers, silver, with its low entry price and enormous upside, becomes the clear winner. And if you're inheriting wealth, this decision could be the difference between losing it to inflation and preserving it and growing it against the destruction of paper assets. If this feels familiar, say so in the comments. Now, let's take a step back and understand why this is happening. Why is all this money moving into hard assets like silver and gold? It's not just about the fear of inflation or the destruction of the dollar. It's about the systems that allow this to happen. The government is trapped in a debt spiral. They can't afford to pay off their obligations, so they print money, which dilutes the value of everything. But there's more at play. This shift to hard assets is driven by fear, but also by a deep understanding of leverage. You see, it's not just about hedging against inflation. It's about positioning yourself in the right assets that can weather a collapsing financial system. Silver, for example, isn't just a store of value. It's an industrial metal. More than half of all silver produced goes into industries like solar power, electronics, and electric vehicles. Demand for silver is growing by double digits every year. Meanwhile, supply is stagnating. The math doesn't add up, and that's why silver's price is about to explode. It's a perfect storm, and those who position themselves now will come out ahead while everyone else is left scrambling. So, where does this all lead? What happens next? There are two paths ahead, and both are driven by momentum. First, we have the path we're on, an accelerating shortage of silver, rising demand from industrial and investment sectors, and a wealth transfer that's pouring billions into hard assets. If this continues, silver could hit $200 or more within the next 24 months. That's a realistic target based on current trends, and some even say it could go higher. But there's also a risk the paper market could implode. If the COMEX, the main silver exchange, runs out of physical silver and can't deliver on its contracts, that could trigger a massive reset. That's when silver would truly go nuclear, with prices skyrocketing as the real metal becomes impossible to get. But here's the uncertainty. No one knows when the bubble will pop. It could happen tomorrow, or it could take another year. What we do know is this: those who are positioned early will ride the wave of wealth creation, while those who wait or hesitate will miss out entirely. Here's the truth. The $45 trillion wealth transfer is happening right now. It's not some future event. It's unfolding before our eyes, and the question isn't whether you'll be part of it. It's whether you'll position yourself to win or watch from the sidelines as it passes you by. Silver at $89 an ounce isn't expensive. It's a gift. It's the last chance to secure real wealth before the supply runs out. You can wait, but the window is closing. The U.S. Mint has already suspended sales. Other mints will follow. Vaults are draining, and when the physical market collapses, only those who acted early will have the metal in hand. So here's the bottom line. If you understand the numbers, if you understand the scarcity, silver is the one asset that can't be printed and can't be manipulated forever. The greatest wealth transfer in history is happening right now, and the only question left is, will you seize the opportunity or will you be too late? Don't wait, act now. If you want to stay ahead of the game and understand what's really going on, follow, subscribe, and stay tuned for the next analysis.